Mel, where are you right now? Where did your clothes and all your stuff go? Place is empty. Frankie's room too! Everything's gone! What's going on? Where did you and Frankie go?
Hello, Jay. I know this is sudden and might come as a surprise, but me and Frankie won't be coming back home.
What?
I met someone else. We're getting a divorce. Don't worry, I'll only be taking Frankie. You can keep Anthony.
What? Where the hell did this come from? What's going on? Why?
I'm doing this for Frankie's benefit. Let's face it, Jay, our son is a genius. He's always at the top of his class, he loves to study, he excels at every sport he tries, everything he touches turns to gold. He wins the school art and music competitions every single year, too. There's no doubt about it, he's genuinely gifted. Which is why I think he deserves to be raised in the best environment possible and receive a superb education worthy of such high intellect. That's why he needs someone who's capable of providing financially for him. Let's face it, Jay, that's not you, is it? I'm sorry, but our son deserves better than what you can give him.
What? I'm not filthy rich, so you're divorcing me and moving out with my son all of a sudden? I don't understand the logic! We have food on the table, do we not? I thought we were getting by. And why do you only want Frankie? None of this makes any sense. How do you think this is gonna make Anthony feel? Have you even thought about that? This is basically the same as saying, hey son, you're not as smart as your brother, so I'm abandoning you. See ya!
It's not basically the same. That's really what I'm doing. He's a good-for-nothing dullard that will never amount to anything. He's a failure of a human being. Son or not, what benefit is there in having someone like that around?
What? How can you say that? Anthony is not a failure of a human being.
Yes, he damn well is. His grades are below average in literally everything. He sucks at studying, he's so clumsy he doesn't even get picked in team sports, he's useless. He never won a single prize at school. No, it's worse than that. He never won a single thing in his life. How could he be described as anything other than a failure of a human being?
Stop speaking about him like that! Anthony's doing his best. He works so hard and tries to meet your expectations of him. Just because he might not always meet them doesn't mean he's not trying. He skips on sleep to study, damn it! Besides, his grades might not be the best, but they did start going up over the last year.
Maybe they did start going up a little recently, but they're still only slightly above average. If that's the best he can do when he pushes his limits, he is obviously not cut out for anything special. Face it, he lost the dice roll. Frankie got the clever genes. All the study in the world is meaningless without results. Frankie's always been a natural at whatever he does. How did his big brother end up so useless? If we're honest, he'll only end up holding Frankie back. Do you want to end up with 2 failed children?
Come on, are you seriously saying we should separate them? They're brothers and they love each other. They get on like a house on fire. How do you think they'd feel about being torn apart? They're still in elementary and middle school, for crying out loud. It would crush them and you know it.
Frankie would be more crushed by growing up to be a failure and realizing it was all because he received the poisonous influence of his loser brother for far too long. We have to be courageous enough to make the decision now, before it's too late. Anyway, whether you like it or not, it's already decided. I'm taking Frankie because he's gifted, he's going to do great things one day. My new boyfriend is very wealthy. He's the CEO of a major donut chain, but he doesn't have any kids of his own. He said if Frankie can maintain his excellent grades until he graduates college, he'll adopt him and appoint him as successor to his company. And the cream of the intellectual crop, with the support of my new boyfriend, he'll be receiving a world-class education of the kind that most people can only dream of. Then one day, he'll be part of the business elite, the backbone of America. Which is precisely why he can't be allowed to associate with a pair of brain-dead morons like you two for 1 second longer. Me and Frankie are moving up in the world. And me and you will be cutting all ties.
Just wait a sec, Mel. You don't just get to decide something like this all on your own. I won't accept it.
I don't care whether you accept it or not. Whatever you say, I'm absolutely not taking his moron brother. I wouldn't if you paid me. I hope you and Anthony enjoy your new life together. It might be hard, what with you two having a combined IQ of less than 50 and all, but good luck. Goodbye forever. Hello, Jay. It's been a while. It's me, Mel.
What do you want after all this time? Go away.
I'd rather you weren't so rude. I was thinking of celebrating today, so I gave you a call. I heard the news about Anthony getting into med school. That's my boy. I always knew he'd do great things. He's got brains just like his mother. I can't tell you how proud this makes me.
Oh, that's strange. I could have sworn you were calling him every name under the sun when we last spoke 5 years ago. Good-for-nothing loser, brain dead, a failure of a human being. You cast us both aside like pieces of trash.
He really was a failure back then, though. I mean, come on, Jay. His grades were below average. Let me tell you, though, I was astonished when I heard he'd made it into med school. My jaw practically hit the floor. But you know what? Deep down, I always knew that he had what it took to go the distance, to really do something amazing with his life.
You've got some nerve, woman. The only reason you want to snuggle up to him now is because he got into med school. I can read you like a book. You're as shallow as you are naive. He doesn't need you to celebrate for him. Now get lost.
Oh, wait, just wait. That's not all I wanted to say. There's something else we have to talk about.
There is? You mean you have more nonsensical crap to bore me with? Today must be my lucky day, huh?
Stop being so difficult and just listen. It's about Frankie. You know how his grades were so excellent back when I took him 5 years ago? Well, I'd like to trade him for Anthony.
Excuse me?
No one could deny he was the shame of our family back then. He was so clumsy, it was like he had 2 left feet, which naturally made him useless at sports, and his academic ability was even worse. But now he's in med school, I have absolutely no problem with acknowledging him as my son. Rather than betting everything on Frankie, whose performance at this point is so pathetic, he might not even make it past his college entrance exams. I think it would make more sense to invest our hopes for the future in Anthony, who's already proven he's the one who's going places by getting into med school. My husband agreed. He said if he's clever enough to get into med school, he'd have no problem with allowing him to live with us. Look, basically, you need to give me Anthony.
Wow. Just when I thought you couldn't sink any lower, you speak about our boys like they're racehorses.
I get it. Maybe there's a better way to say it, but when you think about it realistically, children are basically racehorses, aren't they? My life will change enormously depending on whether my sons succeed or not. It's only natural to want to hedge your bets on the promising one. You get that, right?
Like hell I do! You're twisted! Anthony isn't some tool solely existing to provide you with a comfortable life. Not only did you snatch Frankie away from his dad and brother, but now you're trying to manipulate Anthony like he's some pawn on a chessboard?
Fine. If you don't want to give me Anthony, let's trade.
What?
I'll give you Frankie if you give me Anthony. Frankie might still only be in high school, but it is one of the most prestigious high schools in the country. I'll even cover all his tuition fees and send you regular child support payments. You can't say fairer than that. I think this is a really favorable trade for you.
Wow, just hold on a sec. You want us to trade sons? What are they, Pokemon cards? Are you insane? How could you do that to Frankie? I thought you loved him.
You'll probably find it eventually, so I may as well just tell you the truth. But Frankie moved out half a year ago.
He did what?
He was doing great until middle school. Top grades, always winning competitions and prizes. He was the golden boy. But when he moved up to high school, he met a girl on social media who clearly must have poisoned his mind, because not long after they met, he left home. He did carry on going to school for a little while, and he did used to message me every now and then, but eventually he stopped showing up, and even if I went to meet him or lied in wait where he couldn't see me, nothing. I have no idea where he went and have no way of getting him back.
Frankie did that?
My husband flipped a switch. I've never seen him so furious. He invested so much in that boy's education so he could be his successor and inherit the company one day. To think all it took to destroy it was some bimbo. He threatened to divorce me if I couldn't get Frankie back.
No way. So the only reason you want Anthony is as a replacement for Frankie? You're using him as a tool to avoid getting divorced?
If I'm completely honest, yes. We had an arrangement. My husband, being childless, said that if I could provide him with an adoptive son and successor to his company, he'd promise me a life of luxury as a celeb trophy wife. If I don't hurry up and find him a replacement, I'm gonna be on the streets.
I didn't know it was actually possible for a single human being to be this despicable. You make me sick. I have no words. To think part of me actually thought you were being sincere back then when you said you were doing what you did for Frankie. Turns out you were only ever thinking about yourself. Does your selfishness know no bounds?
You can say what you want about me, I don't care. Are you gonna give me Anthony or not? I might not be able to trade him for Frankie, but who knows, maybe he'll go and live with you voluntarily. If Anthony can get into med school after being such a failure, anything's possible. Maybe Frankie could even become a respectable human being again if he lived with you. So what's it gonna be? Will you give me him?
You must be deluded if you think even for a second I'm actually going to go along with this. You're something else. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. You're the one who got abandoned.
Huh?
You probably thought you were the one abandoning me and Anthony. But the only one who actually got abandoned is you.
What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Frankie probably finally saw through your unparalleled selfishness and decided he was better off making a life for himself rather than relying on his deluded and very likely sociopathic mother. Basically, he had enough of you and didn't want to be around you a moment longer.
There's no way Frankie would ever think that about me. He's a genius. How could anyone so wise and intelligent have a negative opinion of me?
He left precisely because he's wise and intelligent. He probably realized that he was doomed to a life of being used and manipulated if he stayed with you. So he made a break for it and abandoned you. That's my boy.
Oh my god. After we spent so much money on him.
Anyway, I won't be giving you Anthony, and we won't be doing any kind of trade. In fact, Anthony is adamant he never wants to see you again. I also have no intention of letting him come anywhere near someone as dangerous as you. You can beg me as much as you like. I'm simply going to ignore you, and I will absolutely not be helping you. Leave us alone. Forever.
No, wait, please! I'm gonna be in so much trouble if you don't help me. Please, I won't have anywhere to live. If I can't provide my husband with a replacement son, his company will be successorless. What do you propose he do about that, huh?
Oh, is that my problem? Nope. That has precisely zero to do with me and my sons. Zilch. Nada.
Please, Jay, I'm begging you. Will you at least let Anthony meet my husband? He can do what he likes as long as he agrees to inherit the company. If he doesn't, I'm gonna get kicked out. I'll be homeless. Could you live with yourself? Be honest, could you?
Yes, very easily. It's actually kind of ironic, isn't it? You called Anthony a failure of a human being for so long, but ultimately, you're only capable of getting by begging from and sponging off of others. Looks like you were the one that failed a human being all along. After that, Mel showed up at my front door after driving a very long way to try and persuade me. Or should I say, my old front door. I'd moved house 2 years back and made a point of not telling her my new address. So I was surprised to hear from my old neighbor about the strange woman making a racket next door. Apparently, she gave up eventually, and her efforts to contact me and Anthony ended in vain. I heard she also went to the police to see if they'd help her find Frankie, but they told her no crime had been committed and refused to have anything to do with it. Ultimately, her worst fears came true. Her husband divorced her, and she was homeless. She somehow managed to scrape together the rent on a tiny cockroach-ridden apartment, and currently spends her days in the depths of poverty, probably contemplating where it all went wrong. By the way, there's something I should come clean about. Frankie moved in with me and his brother 6 months ago. The stress of his mother constantly restricting his freedom, combined with the pressure put on by him by her husband to take over his company, became too much to bear. In order to pull off this vanishing act, he pretended he met a girl online and had decided to go and live with her. Then, as he moved up to high school, he put together a bare minimum of essential items and came home to live with me and his brother. I know he's my son, but if I do say so myself, that was one hell of a move. I was in awe of his decisiveness and strength of will. With his mom getting divorced, he couldn't afford to stay at the original high school he moved up to, so he moved to another one near our house. Now, he's living comfortably while doing the things that he wants to do, living life on his own terms. As for Anthony, he was over the moon to be reunited with his brother. The three of us intend to live our lives in happiness and harmony from now on.
Hey, Raina, did you ignore my goddamn instructions again? How many times do I gotta tell you, we don't use the program with the weird icon, we use Word. You draw the ruled lines with Word, you type in the numbers, and you input the numbers you got from doing the calculations with the calculator on your desk. At this company, it's standard to practice to make invoices and purchasing order forms with Word before printing them out and handing them into the executive division. How about you start doing as I tell you for a change? What the hell's all this crap with this centralization feature you used? I don't know what it's for, and that ain't company policy, so quit it, now.
Hello, Brian. I take it you mean the centralized administration system. A notice stipulating its use was handed down to all employees by the parent company a few days ago. You should have received both an email and a paper copy. It was part of a drive to increase efficiency across the board by the system's developer through streamlining the workflow of all employees, regardless of whether they work at parent company HQ, any of our branches, or at different departments within the same branch. This is the format we'll be using to input data from now on. If you don't learn how to use the app, it'll interfere with your ability to work in the manner prescribed to us by upper management, and the files you produce won't be cross-compatible with the rest of our systems.
Huh? Heck are you babbling on about, woman? Nah, no way. You're the one who has to learn my style of working, not the other way around. You know, it's precisely arrogant crap like this that makes everyone hate temps. If you're so desperate for my wise instruction, then I suggest you fall in line and obey the company policy on document creation, you lazy temp slacker.
I don't know what you're talking about, but it would appear the only one who needs technical instruction here is you.
Huh?
In fact, that's why I'm here. I was dispatched from the parent company after receiving a request to that effect.
Huh? What am I reading? You delusional as well as moronic, you lazy temp slacker. Listen to me, lady. You're new at this company. And while you're new, that means you have to follow the instruction and respect the authority of your senior workers. It's the law of the workplace. You might not like it, but we have our own way of doing things here. You don't get to pull new document creation methods out of your ass just because you don't like our process. Do you have any idea how much trouble you'll cause the company if you carry on ignoring the rules? I make myself clear? Good. Don't want to see you using anything but Word for data entry from now on.
Brian, all I did was create a piece of sample work based on actual data.
Huh?
Your department manager distributed paper instruction manuals on the new way of doing things to all employees earlier. So please kindly use that as your reference during all data entry work in the future. Of course, that means we'll be using the new system instead of Word, as is explained in the manual.
What the heck?
I'm not really saying anything that difficult, Brian. It's easy enough to understand if you just think of it as inputting numerical data into the new system using a calculator. Rather than relying on simply sequentially entering your results from the calculated data into Word, a method which is significantly prone to human error. The new system is geared towards collating the data with the pre-existing database to ensure a higher degree of accuracy and precision.
Quit making me repeat myself, moron. Like I said, you don't have the authority to arbitrarily come up with your own systems. You have a way of doing things at this company. If you don't like it, then get the hell out.
This isn't my system, and I didn't come up with it.
Quit trying to upset the harmony of the company and fall in line, peon. This is why everyone thinks temp workers are a scourge on humanity, should be eradicated from the face of the earth.
Wow, does everyone think that, Brian? Do they really? Or maybe, just maybe, is there a chance it's just you? Ugh, forget it. I may as well be talking to a brick wall. I'm just about to come to the end of my shift, so I'll be going now.
No, wait.
I'll see you tomorrow, Brian.
Good morning, Rena. I hope you're well today. How are things progressing with your technical instruction of the employees at the subsidiary company? I'm sorry I haven't been around much to check on your progress. My schedule has been so hectic since I became CEO.
Good morning. That's fine. I understand that you're busy. I'll be compiling and submitting the interim report tomorrow morning. Excluding one employee, the instruction is going swimmingly and things are moving along as planned.
Excluding one employee? Does that mean what I think it means?
Yes. I don't want to sound rude, but Brian from sales is turning out to be an even bigger nuisance than I was warned he would be. He's proving to be a huge thorn in my side.
In what way specifically?
The rest of the employees remembered everything I told them about the new centralized administration system impressively quickly, and it's safe to say they've now completely phased out the use of other apps. But Brian is dead set on creating documents with Word and only Word. He just keeps calling me a lazy temp slacker while ignoring everything I tell him. He seems to have no intention whatsoever of learning the new way of doing things.
I see. The company is moving away from the old paper-based system, which used Word doc files for things like invoices and purchase order forms in a drive to increase efficiency and encourage an overall streamlining of the work process. So even if he does carry on using Word, we won't be able to use anything he creates.
Right? I've explained exactly that to him countless times, but it seems no matter how many times I tell him, or how easy to understand I try to make the explanation, nothing goes in.
If I'm not mistaken, Brian is 43 now. He joined the company when he was 39 through his personal connections with the former CEO. But to be honest, he's been like this from day one. I'm not sure if he thinks he's free to do what he likes because he's related to the old boss. But even if that was the case then, his uncle isn't calling the shots anymore. He really is a nuisance. Our company is already behind enough as it is on digitalization compared with the rapid advances our competitors have been making over recent years. The last thing we need is stubborn employees with old-fashioned, fossilized ideas on how things should be done, preventing us from making any progress.
I'll only be giving technical instruction at this branch for another week. I'm really going to have to do something about him before I finish up here.
It sounds like you're having a rough time of it.
No, it's nothing. I'm just doing my job.
If he persists in refusing to listen, we'll be left with no choice but to consider the nuclear option.
God frickin' damn it. What the heck is it gonna take for you to learn to use Word, lazy temp slacker?
Hello, Brian. I assure you, I know full well how to use Word.
Liar. I'm very kindly going out of my way to try and teach you how to do your job, but you don't put the slightest bit of effort into trying to learn. Imagine having access to a teacher as exceptional and competent as I, and completely wasting the opportunity.
You're teaching me? No, I'm definitely the one doing the teaching here. As I previously told you, I was dispatched by the parent company to provide technical instruction to all employees regarding the new centralized data entry system.
What? Why'd you have to disobey me at literally every opportunity? Do you have daddy issues or something? This is the problem with lazy temp slackers like you. Nothing ever goes in until you screw up and learn the hard way. I was hoping it wouldn't have to come to this, but it's time you learned a lesson. How'd you like them apples, bitch? Told off and double slapped in the face in front of the entire company at the morning meeting. First, I went in with the beautifully executed open hand slap, marvelously followed up by the breathtaking backhand. Boom! Double whammy.
Apparently, there was a mistake in the numerical data on the documents I submitted, because Word, and not the new centralized system, had been used to compile them.
Yep. And you only have yourself to blame.
That's not my job, Brian. I'm tired of telling you now, but you were clearly instructed to use the new centralized system for all data entry tasks.
And I'm tired of telling you that you don't get to arbitrarily invent your own way of doing things, because our company already has rules in place for stuff like this.
No, Brian. This has nothing to do with me personally. All employees were notified that this is how we'd be doing things from now on.
Quit barking orders at me, you filthy, arrogant temp scumbag. You getting bitch slapped just now was the punishment for your mistake. This is what you get for ignoring my instructions, you filthy temp slacker. Do you understand how powerful I am at this company compared to you? I'm a full-time employee. You're not even worthy of breathing the same air as me.
Brian, by any chance, do you think I was dispatched here by a staffing agency for temp workers?
Huh? Why would you ask me such a dumb question after all this time? I know exactly why you're here. Because you got sent by the parent company to receive technical instructions for being deemed totally useless and incompetent for your constant, never-ending failures. They probably felt too sorry for you to fire you, since you're so pathetic. Oh, luckily for you, I took it upon myself to be your mentor, but all you've done is throw it back in my face. Why'd you think I'm so kindly trying to teach you how to do data entry using Word? If I didn't teach you, you'd probably end up getting depressed and killing yourself because of your constant failures.
You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Huh?
I'm the parent company's technical advisor.
What?
I'm a full-time employee at the parent company's head office systems management department. I didn't come from a staffing agency. I'm a full-time employee, and I was dispatched here by the parent company as a technical advisor to provide instruction to all employees on the use of the new centralized data entry system that was recently implemented.
Huh?
I was told you were notified of everything I just told you in advance of my arrival.
Wait, what?
Besides, due to the nature of the work we do at this company, we never use temporary workers from staffing agencies. The entire company consists of directly contracted full or part-time workers. Don't you think it'd be strange if an agency temp suddenly showed up one day out of the blue, despite the company having zero precedent for employing people on that basis?
What?
I'm currently in the medical office having an ice pack applied to my swelling cheeks after being slapped. There's a small cut on the inside of my mouth, too.
So, what's your point?
The company president would like to see you. Please make your way to her office immediately.
The president? Oh, man. Hey, Raina, what the heck did you go and do, and what are you gonna do to make up for it? I got told to stay home and not come into the office thanks to you. The president told me she was gonna think about how to deal with me, but it's pretty much a dead certainty I'm gonna end up getting fired. I'm gonna be unemployed again soon at this rate. I can't go back to being jobless. God damn it, to think I finally landed myself a stable job after my uncle, the old CEO, pulled a few strings and got me into the company. What are you gonna do to make this right? Hey, stop ignoring me. I'm talking to you, idiot. Say something. Hey, Raina, admit it. You have the hots for me, don't you? I was thinking about it all evening last night and it finally dawned on me. How did I not realize it all this time? The reason you were so rebellious and domineering with me was because you were playing hard to get, wasn't it? In that case, the solution here is easy. You're gonna get married. You're gonna be my provider. And think about it. It's entirely your fault I lost my job, so now you're gonna make up for it by putting a roof over my head, feeding me, clothing me. If you swear to give me your hand in marriage and provide for me for the rest of your life, well, I'll forgive you for getting me fired. Alright, sweet. Now we've agreed on our future together. It makes more sense for me to voluntarily resign than let them fire me. This way, if I jump before I'm pushed, I still get to keep all the money I've been putting into the pension scheme all these years. I bet they're going to be so frustrated when I hand in my resignation before they can fire me. They did tell me I wasn't to come into the company while they were deciding on my punishment, so guess I'll have no choice but to leave my resignation in the postbox. What the heck? Reina, goddamn you. You're already married? Explain yourself. When I reported my resignation and our engagement in the office group chat, they told me you're already married with kids. How dare you trick me, you cheating worm?
Would you be quiet for once?
Excuse me?
Rena didn't say a thing about agreeing to marry you, did she?
Huh?
Sorry to message you from Rena's phone like this, but I didn't have your number.
Who the hell are you?
Penny Williams, CEO.
What? CEO? No way. You can't be.
Whether you believe me or not makes no difference whatsoever. Your abuse towards Rena was getting so severe that I felt I had no choice but to intervene personally.
But Penny, why would you do that? Don't you have more important things to do being the CEO and all?
Rena is the daughter of my childhood friend, and I've known her since she was a little girl.
What?
The reason Rena was dispatched to your office as a technical advisor was because I put in a request with the parent company that she be the one to deliver instruction on the new system.
Rena's friends with the CEO?
Yes, but let me make it clear that the reason she occupies such a senior position at the parent company has nothing to do with me, or personal connections with anyone else for that matter. She got to where she is with nothing but hard work, dedication, and commitment to her responsibility. Oh, that reminds me. I understand you've decided to resign voluntarily. I'm hereby notifying you that your resignation has been received and accepted. Leaving of your own volition may have been a wiser decision than waiting to be dismissed. However, you won't be receiving a cent of the money you've been putting into the pension scheme during your years at the company. All of it will be going to Rena in the form of compensation for the awful treatment you've subjected her to.
What?
Rena's husband was furious. Apparently, he is threatening to file criminal charges against you with the police for slapping her in front of the entire company at morning call.
Criminal charges?
Not that that's in the least bit surprising. Slapping your coworker in the face was obviously going to make you liable for charges of battery or inflicting bodily injury, especially when there were so many witnesses.
Oh my god, what the hell?
Rena tells me your lawyer will be taking care of all the proceedings from now on. You'll be receiving a message from him over the coming days.
God, am I gonna get arrested?
My husband, who had been crazy worried about me throughout this whole ordeal, took care of everything involving the legal proceedings for me after that. As for Brian, lacking any knowledge in the ways of the world, he had no choice but to leave it to his parents to take care of his dire situation. Thankfully, and somewhat surprisingly, they seemed like decent, reasonable people, and all of our talks went by smoothly and without a hitch. They agreed to pay compensation, and with that, I dropped the charges against him. At first, my husband was so furious he insisted I don't drop the charges, no matter what. But when, as part of our settlement talks, Brian's parents suggested they send their son to work at a company famous for reforming social delinquents, such as ex-cons, domestic abusers, and drug addicts. He decided to compromise, being moved by the genuine sincerity and remorse they showed during the talks. Who knows, maybe there's hope for Brian to become a decent human being yet. Apparently, Brian threw the mother of all tantrums the day he was to be sent off to the company's dormitory, and bundling him into the car proved to be a challenge for his parents. But last I heard, while he is still going through some growing pains and the occasional stint of depression, He spends his days working diligently under the firm but fair guidance of his seniors at his new workplace.